The wind howled across Lake Harriet, sharp as a blade, slicing through Wyatt Callahan's worn-out jacket. Minneapolis was still locked in winter's stubborn grip. The lake's surface gleamed like a cracked mirror, its ice thin and treacherous. Wyatt trudged along the shore, his boots crunching against the frost, his breath fogging in the dim morning light. Beside him, Avery, his 8-year-old daughter, skipped stones across the frozen edge, her laughter a rare burst of warmth in his gray world. "Daddy, look, it's like glass." Avery giggled, her mittened hands fumbling with a pebble. "Careful, kiddo," Wyatt said, his voice rough but tender. "That ice isn't as strong as it looks." He was 38, but the lines on his face told the story of a man twice his age. 2 jobs, a mountain of debt from his late wife Lydia's cancer treatments, and a quiet ache that never left. Janitor by day, delivery driver by night, Wyatt lived for Avery. She was his anchor, his reason to keep going. That morning, he'd taken her to the lake to clear his head after another sleepless night of bills and broken promises. Then came the scream. It pierced the air, raw and desperate, shattering the stillness. Wyatt's head snapped up. Across the lake, a figure thrashed in the water, arms flailing as the ice buckled beneath them. Without a second thought, he yelled, "Avery, stay here," and bolted toward the sound. "Wyatt, what the hell are you doing?" Avery's voice echoed across the frozen lake, panic straining every word. Wyatt's heart pounded as his eyes locked onto the dark shape struggling in the water, the ice cracking beneath her frantic movements. "Stay back, Avery," Wyatt shouted, his voice rough. The wind howled at his ears, but he didn't hear it. He was already running. Each step he took toward the woman slipping under the ice felt like it could be his last. The ice groaned under his weight as he slid and stumbled, his heart pounding. The figure, a woman, was sinking fast, her dark hair fanning out in the black water. Wyatt dropped to his knees, crawling the last few feet, and plunged his arms into the freezing depths. His fingers locked around her wrist, and with a grunt, he hauled her up, her body limp and shivering against the jagged ice. As his hands grabbed hold of her wrist, pulling her from the freezing water, a thought raced through his mind. Who was she? "Hold on," he rasped, dragging her to solid ground. She coughed, water spilling from her lips, her eyes wild with fear. She was young, maybe 30, her face pale, her clothes soaked and clinging to her frame. No coat, no gloves. Just a stranger who'd nearly drowned. Avery ran over, wide-eyed. "Daddy, is she okay?" "She will be," Wyatt said, stripping off his jacket to wrap around the woman. "What's your name?" She didn't answer when he asked for her name. Her eyes were full of fear, but not just from drowning. It was something deeper, something more dangerous. The woman's gaze darted between them, her breath ragged. I don't," she trailed off, her voice trembling. "Thank you." Wyatt frowned. Something was off. She didn't look like a local, and her hesitation felt deliberate. But before he could press, sirens wailed in the distance. Someone must have called it in. Paramedics swarmed the scene, bundling her into an ambulance. She locked eyes with Wyatt one last time, a flicker of something, gratitude, secrets, passing between them before the doors slammed shut. Wyatt had saved a life that day, but in doing so, he may have just unleashed a series of events that would change everything. And the worst part? She wasn't supposed to be found. That should have been the end of it. A good deed on a cold morning. But it wasn't. By noon, Wyatt's life was a circus. News vans clogged the street outside his crumbling apartment building. Reporters shouted questions. How'd you know she was out there? What's it feel like to be a hero? Wyatt shielded Avery from the cameras, his jaw tight. He didn't want this. He just wanted to pay his rent, keep Avery fed, and maybe sleep without dreaming of Lydia's hospital bed. Inside, the TV blared. Local man saves mystery woman from Lake Harriet. The anchor chirped. But who is she? Authorities say she carried no ID, and she's refusing to speak. Wyatt muted it, rubbing his temples. Avery tugged his sleeve. Daddy, why are they so loud? They think I'm some big deal, he muttered. I'm not. The next day, it got worse. A sleek black SUV rolled up as Wyatt swept the school hallway, his janitor's cart rattling beside him. Two men in suits stepped out, their faces hard. Wyatt Callahan? One asked, his tone clipped. Yeah. Wyatt gripped the broom tighter. We need to talk. About the woman you pulled from the lake. Wyatt's stomach twisted. She okay? She's fine, but you've stepped into something bigger than you know. Come with us. He didn't have a choice. They drove into a glass-walled office downtown, where a man waited tall, sharp-eyed, his suit worth more than Wyatt's yearly pay. I'm Grayson Whitlock, he said, extending a hand Wyatt didn't take. You saved my sister. I owe you. Wyatt blinked. Sister? Hadley. She's complicated. Been missing for 6 months. Family thought she was dead. Grayson's smile didn't reach his eyes. We're grateful. Name your price. I don't want your money, Wyatt said, voice low. I'd have done it for anyone. Grayson's laugh was cold. Everyone wants something, Wyatt. Think about your daughter. Those debts piling up. One word and they're gone. Wyatt's fist clenched. How did this guy know about his debts? I said no. Suit yourself. Grayson slid a card across the desk. Call when you change your mind. That night, Wyatt couldn't sleep. Who was Hadley? Why had she run? And why did her brother act like he owned the world? The questions gnawed at him, but he pushed them aside. He had Avery to worry about, not some rich family's drama. Then she showed up. It was past midnight when the knock came. Wyatt opened the door, and there she was, Hadley, the woman from the lake. Her hair was dry now, her eyes bright but haunted. She wore a hoodie and jeans, nothing like the heiress he'd expected. I'm sorry, she said, her voice soft. I didn't mean for this. How'd you find me? Wyatt asked, stepping aside to let her in. You're all over the news. Hard to miss. She glanced around a cramped apartment. Avery's drawings taped to the walls, the sagging couch. I needed to thank you. Properly. You did. At the lake. No, you don't get it. She hesitated, then sat, her hands twisting together. I wasn't supposed to be found. I left that life, my family, the money, all of it. 6 months ago, I walked away. Changed my name, worked odd jobs. I was free, until you pulled me out. Wyatt stared. You're saying you didn't want to be saved? I don't know. Her laugh was bitter. Maybe I did. Maybe I didn't. But now they know I'm alive, and they won't let me go. Who's they? The Whitlocks. My family. They own half the city, Whitlock Enterprises. Ever heard of it? Wyatt nodded. Everyone had. Real estate, tech, power. So why run? Because it's a cage. Gold bars, sure, but still a cage. I was suffocating. She met his eyes. You're not like them, Wyatt. You're real. That's why I'm here. He didn't know what to say. Before he could, Avery shuffled out, rubbing her eyes. Daddy, who's she? Hadley's face softened. I'm Hadley. Your dad's a hero, you know that? Avery grinned. He's the best. Something shifted then. Hadley stayed, talking with Avery about her drawings, laughing in a way Wyatt hadn't heard in years. For a moment, his world felt less heavy. But the Whitlocks weren't done. Grayson showed up again, this time at Wyatt's door, his charm replaced by menace. Hadley's coming home, he said, and you're not going to stop her. She's a grown woman. Wyatt shot back. She decides. Grayson's eyes narrowed. You got a kid, Wyatt. Cute girl. Be ashamed if social services got a tip about an unfit dad. Debts, late nights, doesn't look good. Wyatt lunged, but Hadley stepped between them. Leave him alone, Grayson. I'm not going back. You will, Grayson snarled, or I'll bury him. The threat hung there, a blade over Wyatt's life. And here's the question that burned through the chaos. What's worth more, freedom or family? For Wyatt, it was Avery. For Hadley, it was the life she'd fought to claim. But could they hold on to both? Days turned to weeks. Hadley didn't leave. She crashed on Wyatt's couch, taught Avery card tricks, and started fixing up his beat-up truck. She was good with her hands, better than he'd expected. Learned it on the road, she said with a shrug. Keeps me sane. The media frenzy faded, but Grayson didn't. He sent lawyers, offers, threats. Wyatt's boss fired him from the janitor gig. Too much heat, the guy said. Bills piled higher. Then came the twist. Detective Hayes, a gruff cop who'd worked the Lake case, showed up a file. "Whitlock's dirty," Hayes said, tossing on the table. "Tax evasion, coercion. Been building a case for years. Your stunt gave us leverage. Hadley's testimony could sink him." Wyatt looked at Hadley. "You in?" She nodded, steel in her eyes. "Let's end this." They fought back. Hadley went public, resigning from Whitlock Enterprises on live TV, exposing Grayson's threats. Hayes arrested him, and the empire trembled. Eleanor, Hadley's mother, broke her silence, siding with her daughter. The Whitlocks fractured. Time healed the rest. Wyatt and Hadley opened Callahan and Family Auto Repair, her skills and his grit turning into a local gem. She legally adopted Avery, who called her mom one quiet night, tears in all their eyes. They married by Lake Harriet, the ice long melted, surrounded by a patchwork family. Eleanor, Mrs. Delaney from next door, even Grayson, humbled and seeking redemption. A year later, Christmas, the shop buzzed with life. Avery's are hung on the walls. Customers laughed, and Wyatt watched Hadley tweak an engine, her hands steady. They'd built something real, not with money, but with trust. "Hey," Hadley said, nudging him. "You ever think we'd end up here?" "Nope," Wyatt grinned. "But I wouldn't trade it." The answer to that burning question? Freedom and family weren't opposites. They were the same damn thing, if you fought for them right.